Subject is life, death, and sanskar. Satchidanand is derived from a conversion of three terms, namely Sat, Chit, and Anand. These are so often translated as existence, knowledge, and bliss. This is not only loose terminology but incorrect. Correctly speaking, Sat means that which undergoes no change, a transcendental entity. Existence is a relative term and conveys the sense of existence under certain relative conditions of time, place, and person. Sat implies unchangeable. The transcendental entity may appear to undergo a metamorphosis but actually undergoes no qualitative change. Hence, Sat can only mean the transcendental entity, an absolute entity which undergoes no change. The meaning of Anand, of course, bliss, it may more correctly be translated as divine bliss. The bliss experienced subjectively and not in an objective manner. Chit does not mean knowledge, it means consciousness. It is by the power of Chit that the cosmos is created, and it is this power that through the unit mind experiences or activates created substance. This subjectivation is only due to the consciousness or Chitti Sakti in Brahma. It was seen in the last chapter that Sagun Brahma includes in itself all of microcosm, macrocosm, Purushottam, and Paramatma. The whole cosmos is Sagun Brahma, is the thought projection of this macrocosm. Let us analyze the process of perception of different objects in the cosmos by the microcosm. The microcosm possesses 10 organs, 5 sensory and 5 motor organs. Sensory organs receive tanmatras from the objects which are perceived. These organs or indriyas are therefore the knowers of the objects. In the next stage, through the afferent nerves, Chitta receives the tanmatras and takes the form of the object perceived. Aham Tattva feels the subjectivity, I perceive. But this subjectivity itself depends upon the existence of I, because one cannot work unless one feels that one exists. I exist first and then the I works. This feeling of existence is Mahat Tattva. The combination of Aham Tattva and Mahat Tattva is the instrument for the perception of tanmatras which have been brought in by the organs. The mind, the combination of three, Mahat, Aham, and Chitta, is thus the knower of the Indriyas. That is why the mind is said to be the master of the organ. But is mind the real knower? If not, who is the real knower? I exist, I do, and done I are functional forms. There is another entity who is the master of functions and who witnesses that these functions are performed. We thus come to the entity witnessing Mahat Tattva. This witnessing entity is the Atman, or the unit consciousness. The knower of the mind itself is the Atma. Hence the ultimate knowership, Jnanatritva, lies in the Atman and not in the mind. The Atma, or the reflected consciousness on the unit psychic plate, is not only the active element. The knowership lies in him as witnessing entity. The Atma knows because it is an active participant in the function of the mind. The function of the 5 motor organs is to activate tanmatras. The organs work by translating their potentialities into action with the help of 10 outgoing tanmatras radiated through the motor nerves, which the motor nerves in their turn receive the tanmatras from the mind. So, it seems that the doership lies in the mind and not in the motor organs. The real doership cannot be established in the absence of the Atma, who witnesses that the mind is activating the internal sanskaras or accumulated momenta. In the form of tanmatras, the Atma is not active, but it is due to the Atma, due to its omnipresence. That is, the mind is able to work. To this extent, in the Atma lies the knowership or doership. The Atma itself does not work, but its existence is the ultimate cause of knowing and doing. Any object first exists in the organ. On further introspection, it depends on the existence of the organ within the scope of the mind. And ultimately, the real knowership or doership is established in the Atma. The ultimate existence of the mind is itself in the Atma. Thus, the ultimate knowership, doership, and existence are in the Atma. And the collective name given for the three is witnessing entity. This will be more clear if it is remembered that the mind is nothing but a state of never-ending clash amongst three combined principles. These correlated, belligerent, combined principles are the main attributes leading to the formation of the mind. As the mind is only a never-ending clash and an ever-changing relative functional organism, there must be an absolute entity to witness the mind in all the aspects of time, in all the dimensions of space, and in all forms, physical and psychic. This witnessing entity is the Atma. And the mind is only the result of ever-changing functional metamorphosis. The witnessing entity must exist at all stages in Brahmachakra, in Sanchara, Purushottama, acts as the witnessing entity of the cosmic mind. The Atma of the macrocosm is therefore Purushottam himself. In Pratisanchara, Purushottam by his oath yoga reflects associatively upon the macrocosm, and the reflection in each mental plate is the Jivatma, the witnessing entity of the unit mind. The Atma is not an active counterpart. The mind is an ever-changing functional organism, and so it must have a momentum. From where does the mind derive this momentum? Every stage results from the previous stages. The stage after formation of the unit mind is also the effect of all the past stages. The effect of action in the past stage is called Samsaka'Ra, which gives momentum to the unit mind. The initial creation of the unit mind is the result of certain forces reacting in Sanchara. The ultimate cause of momentum of every force is, of course, the macrocosm, the entire working principle in Sanchara and Pratisanchara. It is therefore the macrocosm who works through the media of macrocosms and provides the momentum for the unit mind. The attraction of the great gives an acceleration to such momentum at the nucleus point where the first manifestation of Prakriti took place. The momentum of creation lay in latent form. The momentum of the universe is the momentum by the cosmos through the media of microcosm and also through the medium of the inanimate portion of the macrocosm. This is the play of one in many forms. Before the formation of microcosm, only the macrocosm existed, and all projected activities lay in the macrocosm, and all the diversities were in collective unity there. All the cosmos resides in him, and therefore there is no question of life, death, or samskara in this inanimate phase of creation, that is, from the first bursting out of Prakriti to the development of crudest solid matter. In the journey of Pratisanchar, the crude mind gets momentum from the macrocosm. In the first stage, the microcosm evolves neither ego, aham tattva, nor mahat tattva, so it is devoid of any sanskara. and the eternal force of the macrocosm moves the microcosm further towards the nucleus. In a later stage, the ego is evolved. But the unit mind feels it and accepts it as a possess or of samskara or momentum, and afterwards a stage comes when this ego starts controlling the mental activities. This stage in evolution is represented by human beings. Human, instead of going further towards the divine goal according to the movement of Pratisanchara, can retrace or adopt the path of negativity. Pratisanchara, the momentum for this negative moment being the accepted momentum of the unit mind, it is said that the samskara of any living animal inferior to the human is infused, but that of the human is acquired. Inferior animals therefore continue to march further on the path of Pratisanchara because of their less developed ego, while human may retrace by adopting mean objectives. While maintaining the unit structure of any object in the animated phase of evolution, proper adjustment amongst mental waves, physical waves, and prana is an essentiality. Any object, mental or physical, always emanates waves. If these waves from the physical body and the mental body have a parallelism, then only is a cooperative unity structure maintained. This parallelism can be lost as well, causing a dissociation of the composite factors by a maladjustment or unadjustable elevation or degradation of any one of the constituent factors. In the animated phase of evolution, elevation occurs due to physical clash, psychic clash, or the attraction of the supreme. To take an example, if a dog comes in contact with a human, the mental waves of the dog contact and clash with the waves of the human, and thereby the dog's mental waves get evolved and attain a greater wavelength. A stage may be reached when the evolved mental wavelength of the dog may lose proper adjustment with its physical structure. This loss in parallelism will cause dissociation, and the dissociated mind will have to find a physical body with which it can find proper adjustment. In common parlance, it will be said that the dog has died and undergone a corporal change. If a psychic clash with higher thought brings about the better wavelength and thereby becomes the cause of a more evolved physical body, contact and clash with meaner thought will lessen the wavelength of the mental waves. Here as well, the loss of parallelism shall occur and the physical and psychic bodies shall dissociate from each other. For example, if the mental wavelength of a person cannot adjust properly with the human body, the psychic body of the person will have to be associated with a properly adjustable physical structure which may be of an inferior animal, a plant, or still cruder matter. The symbolic story of the epic Ramayana, wherein Ahalya, the wife of Gautam Muni, was transformed into stone for some sin done by her, is just to illustrate the process of negative Pratisanchara. The imbibing of waves of higher wavelengths can rarefy the psychic body of a lower animal or plant so that it can have an association with the human physical structure and vice versa. If the wavelength is made cruder by inculcating meaner thoughts, association by proper adjustment and parallelism between the psychic and physical bodies causes life, and dissociation under adverse conditions results in death. Such association can also take place if the waves of the physical structure get cruder due to old age or any other physical deficiency. Here the physician may come to help and by some means or other attribute to the physical body the requisite wavelength through science, the span of life can be made longer by properly adjusting the waves of the physical bodies. But if a change in the mental body be made by changing the brain, its personality itself will also get changed. Such a change will mean the transformation of the person himself, and thus not Mr. X but Mr. Y shall regain life. For the existence of life or for association, proper adjustment between the waves of the psychic body and of the physical body is an essentiality, and also adjustment with the prana is necessary. Prana is the collective name of 10 vayus, 5 internal and 5 external. The internal vayus are prana, apana, samana, udana, vyana, and the external vayus are nag, kurma, krikar, devadatta, and dhananjaya. The jurisdiction of prana is between the navel point and the vocal cord, and its function is inhalation and exhalation. Apan resides from the payu, anus, to the navel point. Its function is to control the movement of urine and stool. Saman resides in the navel sphere, and its function is to maintain adjustment between prana and apan. Udan has its place in the throat, and it controls the vocal cord and the voice. Bhyan regulates blood circulation and physical function of the afferent and efferent nerves. The function of the external vayu is as follows. Nag means serpent, gives the power to jump or to extend the body and also to throw an object. Kurma means tortoise, gives the function of contraction. Krikar helps in yawing. Devadatta is responsible for thirst and hunger, and Dhananjaya causes sleep and drowsiness, tandra. A physical deficiency or defect in any portion of the body results in the weakening of pran and apan, and saman may become unable to maintain adjustment between pran and apan, as a result of which there takes place a vehement fight in the navel area and in the vocal cord. In physiology, this is called navel breathing or nabhi swas. When saman loses its vitality, all the 3 vayus, pran, apan, saman, are transformed into one and strike udan. The moment udan loses its separate identity, bhyan also comes in contact with their collective force, and all the internal vayus getting associated into one move throughout the physical body with great force and strike at every delicate point for an outlet. The combined vayus pass out, and with their passing away from the physical structure, all the external vayus except Dhananjaya also leave the physical structure. Dhananjaya causes sleep, and so to cause the deep sleep of death, Dhananjaya remains in the body even after all the vayus have left. When the dead body is burnt or get totally decayed, Dhananjaya as well leaves the body and remains in the cosmos to act again according to the will of Prakriti. The loss in the parallelism of physical and mental waves cause death. The physical cause of death is the passing away of the 10 minus Dhananjaya vayus into eternal space. The psychic waves, finding no proper adjustment with the physical waves, also dissociate and pass into eternal space. This detached mental body possesses the expressed momentum of its previous lives, which it had to express according to the universal law of Prakriti that every force must have its expression. Now it is the duty of the cosmos mutative force to provide it a proper physical parallelism for due expression. This it does by making the dissociated mind penetrate into a subtle physical structure. Since the mind exists, the mental plate exists, and the reflection of Purushottam must remain. The Atma therefore remains associated with the Jivatma. The ultimate knowership, doership, and base of existence lie in the Atma. The Atma is the witnessing entity without which there is no meaning of the mind working or activating the internal sanskaras into tanmatras. Without the Atma, the mind cannot perceive or receive the incoming Tanmatras. That is why the ultimate knowership or doership lies in the Atma. As the Atma witnesses the mind itself, the ultimate residence of the mind is the Atma. The dissociated mind has therefore the witnessing entity who witness the mind which is in state of inaction or converted into karmashaya, samskara or reaction in its potentiality. The physical cause of death has been discussed above. Let us now see the physical cause of life. Food taken after mixing with the digestive fluids gets transformed into rasa, the unnecessary material being rejected in the form of urine and other waste matter. The essence of rasa is transformed into blood, waste matter once again being rejected. The essence of blood changes into flesh, and the essence of flesh into meda or vasa, fat, and so on till it changes into bone marrow, and ultimately into sukra. The physical body is constituted of these 7 materials, of which sukra is the final essence. This vital fluid has 3 stages: lymph or pranaras, that is lasika, spermatozoa, and seminal fluid. The lymph forces through lymphatic vessels which run side by side with the arteries. The glands through which lymphatic vessels pass are known as lymphatic glands. The function of the lymph is to purify the blood and maintain the beauty and glory of the body, and by getting into the glands it enables proper secretion of hormones for the proper development of innate qualities. An adequate amount of lymph is necessary. The lymph rises up and gets into the brain, thus strengthening it. For intellectuals, an adequate amount of lymph is necessary. A deficiency or defect in the lymph causes some disease in the organ where the deficiency has occurred. For example, defects of the lymph system in the leg will result in elephantiasis of the leg. Some nerve plexus get developed at the age of 12 to 14 in hot countries and 13 to 16 in cold countries. In the male body, they are the testes, and the female, the ovaries. After a due supply of lymph to the brain, the extra lymph comes in contact with the test and in transformation into spermatozoa by a proper system of observing fast. The excessive formation of lymph can be checked. Impure thoughts also cause excessive formation of spermatozoa from lymph. If the surplus lymph is destroyed, there is no harm. Spermatozoa with lymph and other fluids collected in the seminal sac are known as seminal fluid. In the female body, this excessive lymph is converted into ova, and the unused ova, together with other seminal vestige, are discharged every month during the last 3 or 4 days in the monthly menstruation. If the sperms of the male and ova of the female get together, they constitute one physical structure. When the physical structure commences formation, there is no question of extra seminal fluid or seminal vestige. And that is why in the stage of pregnancy, there is no menstruation. All the seminal fluid is utilized in forming the body of the embryo. In the uterus, the basic physical structure is first formed. This structure has potential energy and emanates a wavelength. It receives the potentiality from the momentum of the spermatozoa. Spermatozoa can get their motion from the vital potentiality of the male body, and that is why the living being is said to reside first in the seminal fluid of the male and then in the mother's womb, after which the bosom of Mother Earth receives it. Since the physical structure starts from spermatozoa, which has a positive motion and therefore a wavelength, the physical structure thus formed must have a wavelength accordingly. We have already seen that the dissociated mind also has a wavelength in a potential form and a momentum which has to be expressed. The dissociated mind needs physical parallelism for proper expression, and therefore the cosmic mutative force causes the dissociated mind from eternal space to enter the adjustable physical structure, assuming a form in the mother's womb. This is how life comes into physical creation. 2nd of June 1959, Jamalpur.